Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John, here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Hello, Dan. It's a tale as old as time. City lose a football match.
Yeah.
I mean...
There's only three options, isn't there, really, when we do one of these? It's one of three things.
Well, yeah, unless you
One's more likely than the other two.
That's true. City away at Peterborough United, the posh Western Homes Stadium. Is that what it's called these days? London Road, as it were. City came away with a 2-1 defeat. Could have maybe been a different story. Could have also been the same story, but more.
I think it's about right, really, isn't it? Based on the events, based on the way it unfolded.
Based on the fact they scored 2 and we scored 1, it was inevitable that we'd lose 2-1.
I feel like the team that scored 2 played like the team that should, there was a deserved win.
Oh, there was, yeah.
But by about that, you know?
Yeah.
So we...
a lot of endeavour from City, wasn't there?
There was some odd... It was an odd starting lineup, wasn't it?
Shocked. Consider me shocked. Colwell's done something weird.
Yeah.
Let me guess. He watched the first half, stood on his head with a potato on his boot.
I don't know.
Probably.
Czech wasn't starting. That's the main thing.
Yep.
So
neither was Moisa.
Sort of a back. Yeah, and neither was Moisa. Reece Cole suspended for accumulating a bunch of yellows.
Yeah.
So the ginger fella played.
Yeah.
And so I think it was sort of like a back four, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seemed to be.
Sweeney. Was Aimson sort of right back? Or was I can't really remember.
Yes. Purrington, Sweeney, Jules.
Yeah.
And what City obviously set out to do was hassle.
Well, we oppressed.
Yeah.
I like that. I like in the first 2 minutes or whatever it was, before they scored, about 5 minutes in?
Yeah.
Before that, we were pressing them so high up.
Golden time.
It also led to the goal because that's what happens, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, you're inevitably going to leave a good chunk of space in behind, and then we didn't deal with they found picked up the man on the right hand side with the out ball.
Yep.
And then we had, I'd say, generously 4 chances to deal with it, and didn't.
No.
And then it sort of ended up sort of a bit of a comedy goal, really, because the guys. Was it Mason? It wasn't Mason Clark who scored, was it?
Mason Clark put it in, yeah.
Right, it was him, yeah.
But Matey on the right hand side.
Yeah. But Mason Clark's basically he's sort of like he's lying on the floor when he scores, and he sort of swings his boot at it, which is the sort of thing you see really more as kind of like middle school, primary school football.
Yeah.
When it always seemed to happen, didn't it, when you're a kid, but you very rarely see it in the professional game.
It's
someone lying down and but kind of flinging a leg out to try and still kick it.
Yeah. You know what never happens in professional football? Crab football.
There's very little. I'm not sure they've even made crab football its own professional sport.
Is it not an elite?
I don't know. Don't do it at the Olympics.
It's awful, isn't it? Crab football.
Well,
at best you get a good whack, but then how do you run after it?
Well, very slowly.
Yeah,
but,
like a crab. Yeah.
Bit of fun.
Not for me.
Well, how often are you really, expected to participate in crab football?
Yeah, fair comment. I feel like it's been more recent than it should have. Anyway, Mason Clark.
I haven't done it. I haven't played crab football since I went to Cub Scouts.
Oh yeah.
Which, incidentally, in case you're thinking this is completely irrelevant,
yeah.
I used to go to in the building behind the in the car park of St James Park.
Oh yeah, what's now the City Community Trust building?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I used to go.
Is it?
Cubs. Yeah.
Very good. Well, anyway, Mason Clark would be good at crab football probably because later on he fell over and managed to get back up, didn't he? And sat on the ball.
He did.
But on this occasion, he was kind of lying as he.
Yeah, so and then I thought we played well in the first half. There was the pressing, and we also, even when we had the ball, we kind of looked all right with it. Still think we got it to Niskanen a lot. I think there was a couple of times where he nearly found a man, but there was a lot where, and I feel like really, if you're listening to this on the radio, you really wouldn't have been getting the full impression of that, because quite a bit was being made about his endeavour down the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And not that much was being made about the fact that he still wasn't beating the first man.
Yeah.
I'd say say he had 10 crosses, like 9 of them didn't make it anywhere near anyone.
It is strange he's persisting, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I get it. I get a bit against a team,
Well, obviously,
away against a good team, and because of the early goal, we didn't really get to see much of what the plan would have necessarily been, as in the 0-0 plan, the pre-game plans, because things change. So, when you go a goal behind, things just are different, But they've got. I thought we did a good account of ourselves in the first half. Ryan Woods looked good. Is that his name, Ryan Woods?
Yes, his name. Yeah, I think he's a tidy player.
Yeah, I'm not totally convinced that the best system is for him and Carroll to both be playing at the same time. They're both deep lying kind of guys. Like, Carroll's actually one much further forward. He scored a goal, which we'll come to, which he just doesn't do. I think it's been like 6 years since he scored.
That's what happened in the Fleetwood. That wasn't it, last Saturday game as well. And it did look quite good that first half an hour, because Woods was kind of mopping up, and he's more mobile than Carroll, which is saying something, isn't it?
Well, he can put a hell of a ball in behind as well, can't he? Or out to the wings.
And then Carroll was kind of going forwards. And I thought it looked okay. Obviously, we lost. Oh, no, we didn't lose.
That was a draw.
A draw, but, we were poor. But
well, I still think we were really struggling to create. I mean, that's true. We've played against two teams there, either ends of the table, and we haven't been able to. No. It's been the problem all year, hasn't it? Yeah, and this is what, we already banged on about this, but everyone was banging. We just need a striker. We just need a striker. It doesn't matter who you got. You could have Haaland there. Like we've seen from, you're going to have Haaland up front, and if you're not creating any chances for him, a player like him, Haaland says the best striker in the world right now, right? Doesn't have that many touches in a match. Because he's a striker. Do you mean? Like, even played for Man City. Yeah. Do you mean? So he's there just to kind of put the ball on the net, really. You have to create for those kind of players, and we just don't do it. So it doesn't matter who's there. And that's a good thing too, because the striker we bought, which everyone was kind of like, hanging all of their hopes on, and we were told that it was all good now, hasn't even really been playing.
Really strange, isn't it? Really bizarre.
What's happened is we're paying the price for that January debacle, because they've only just come in.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for Luke Harris, who's come in for a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
And I think he didn't hit the ground running because he's just literally stepped up to, they hyped him too much.
Yeah.
This is the problem. Because of the failings in the
September,
summer,
yeah.
We had to really hype up all the ones coming in January, especially Harris, because he was the one that we didn't get.
Yep.
They had to talk about him. And he had, Trevitt hit the ground running. He made that transition from under 21s or whatever it is, straight into League One. And it was he seemed you can do it immediately. Whereas Luke Harris, what's he been there, a month and a half?
But Harris is 2-3 years younger than Trevitt, isn't he, as well?
He's just turned 19 today.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Luke.
And so he hasn't made that. He's only played, he's been there a month and a bit?
Yeah.
Because he came halfway through-ish. He wasn't the first signing, was he?
Yeah, 6 or 7 weeks, isn't it?
And he hasn't hit the ground running. But because we're under such pressure, and especially to score goals, and that's, when he arrived, that's what they said, and he was saying himself, I scored goals, I arrive in the box, he scored this many goals, youth level, blah, 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 blah. And we haven't seen any goal contributions from him, I don't think at all. You're paying for it. You're paying for not doing that business in January. Where if we got them over the line, if we had signed a striker, and if we had got Harris in or whatever, they'd be up to speed by now. Do you mean fit? I can only assume that the Moisa isn't quite match fit. Maybe, I don't know. Can't play that often. Who knows? But that's why now we're playing catch up, and we're running out of time. You never know. All these players, they might all become good.
Yeah.
Before it might all, they might adjust. Just
if
in time for the run-in,
If we get 4 good games out of them, and we pick up 10 points...
Well, we know the team players take a while to adjust, even if they're, just moving to a new team, let alone the fact that they might have been, not match fit. Even if they're coming and they've been playing ages, sometimes it takes a while to bed them in, right? So we've got players who haven't been playing much football, Woods and Issa and stuff, who are going to come in. They've got to get up to speed. And then Harris, who's making a big step up. So, but it's not happening at the moment. It's not happening at the moment, and people are getting, and then I feel like because we had such a frustrating season, it's like they're kind of getting it, and they're getting pressure put on them, and I don't know if that will be helpful or not. Maybe it will. So for some people, Aimson don't feel like it did them any favours. For others, a bit of pressure might might do them some good. Look at Rashford,
Well, yeah,
scored that nice goal, didn't he?
He did. Anyway. we managed to get to half-time drawing because Tom Carroll, as you've said, scored. Had a shot, rare, scored, even rarer.
I know
Took quite the deflection.
It is, and it's funny, isn't it, to say, the only goals we've scored are deflections and own goals, but that is true, and that isn't a good sign. I think the last 3 goals we've scored, all massive deflections.
No, that's not fair. On Harper got the goal at Fleetwood.
Sorry, actually not that one, but
yeah, you're right.
At least 3 of our recent goals, and
Yes.
hasn't been that many of them, been massive deflections. That doesn't fill me with confidence.
No,
That's lucky. I mean, at least we've got in a position to have a shot, which is good, and they have led to goals, obviously, which is good. But it's not like, I don't know if that's demonstrates a huge amount of progress.
well, I think Harper's goal against Fleetwood was one of the few balls into the box that we've seen from the wing, in a kind of sensible way. Not
actually pick somebody out.
pick
who's
somebody
there
out.
to,
There he was.
have a chance. Yeah.
We don't really expect to beat Peterborough away. They're in good form. They've got a good quality team.
They got so many good players.
They really have.
They got so many good players. Harrison Burrows, quality.
But the 2 old City lads, obviously.
Archie Collins. I mean, it made me sad to watch. It's made me sad to watch how well he played, because you just thought he's like a way better version of Tom Carroll.
Yeah, he is. He is, and he's on his way up.
And he's still improving. He's so good, Collins. He's so composed. He's so calm. He's always in the right place. What a player. And I feel like I didn't appreciate him enough at the time. But maybe if I listen back, maybe I did. I don't know.
I mean, he's grown every year as well, hasn't he?
He has, definitely, yeah. And
And it'll be interesting to see if they do go up or he gets picked up by another club, how he gets on in the Championship. Because I feel like he could thrive.
I reckon he could do. I reckon it's on the cards for him if Peterborough don't go up. That,
Yeah.
Because if a team, every team kind of needs a player like that, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and they're not. There's not that many of that profile around, people like him. And I mean, it's, like I said, it just made me a bit
Indeed.
wistful.
Anyway,
but he's really good. And then Randall didn't do a huge amount yesterday, but his numbers this season have been great.
But
so
you look at that
really
front
improving.
line that Peterborough have got.
Well, yeah, and even the ones that don't even make it into the team,
Yeah.
Clark Harris didn't even come on, did he?
I don't think he did.
No, I don't think he did. And they had this So anyway, really good team. And it was only 2-1. We didn't get embarrassed.
No, so it was 1-1 at half-time, wasn't it? Thanks to Carroll's. So if you haven't seen it, Carroll has a shot and it hits, I think it was on target, wasn't it? But it hits Matey on the back and does a massive loop.
Yeah, loops up over
an
the
almost
keeper.
David Seaman style in goal. Back he goes and can't get to it. Was that Naeem? It was, wasn't it? In 1997.
It wasn't exactly like the
It
Naeem
wasn't
goal.
quite like that.
As in, it was nothing like it.
But it really
it did
looped
go
up.
over the keeper's head.
That's what
yeah,
I mean.
yeah.
And the keeper was never getting to it. So 1-1 half-time.
Well, different proposition second half.
Yeah.
They were absolutely dominant all over us. Or we couldn't do anything. All we could do was give them the ball back, wave after wave of attack, and
Completely inevitable, wasn't it?
yeah, and then inevitably the goal came. They play nice football too, Peterborough. It's a nice move. They pass it around. They've got intent in the final third and quality, and they break the lines and they punished you and they punished us. And we didn't. And we must be the ideal team for them to play against, really, because we haven't got that kind of breakaway threat in us like they do. So when we tried to press high up the pitch, they broke away and immediately scored. When they pressed us high up the pitch and stuff, it just resulted in us panicking and booting it back to them so they could have another go if it didn't work.
And then if panicking on the field wasn't enough, Colwell seems to panic on the sidelines. I know we've been asking for substitutes earlier, but he brings Woods off for Wildschut with half an hour to go. Issa on for Harper. Well, I know Harper can run out of juice sometimes, but why aren't we seeing Rankin, Harper on the pitch at the same time? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I can never work out what. I mean, maybe someone who's a better analyzer than me can work out what especially when the changes come, what he's going for. I mean, what's Cox and Issa up front together
Yeah.
for a bit?
Yeah. Yeah, because then ranking comes on.
Were we still at 4-4-2 at that point? I mean, I'm not really 100% sure, but
I
I just wouldn't have done it. I would have changed. Wouldn't you have just changed Issa for Cox? I mean, I know you're behind and you want two up top, maybe, to offer something different. I'm not sure. I think maybe Issa was supposed to be a bit deeper before Cox came off. But I don't really get it. As for ranking, I'm not really. I don't know. And Wiltshire, again, all we ever say about him really is like, you think, oh, I bet he was good once. Because it'll be a real handful on the ball.
Yeah.
And he's good on the break. I mean, and he kind of does terrify kind of defenses a bit because he runs at them.
Yeah.
And then he just cannot do anything with it, like nothing at all.
I feel like
and gets us into trouble because he kind of loses the ball, and then before he's really ever got anywhere, and then he's out of position. I don't know.
I feel like Vilchert's the ideal player for when we're winning 2-0, because you put him on the halfway line, you give it to him, and he doesn't have to run for goal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've never been 2-0 up while he's been in the team, so it's no good to us.
No, that's true. We haven't actually.
And
Let
then
alone in the team. Even before we never been we haven't been 2-0 up since we signed him.
No, Dan. However, the white whale was with us. That's not the Admiral. I'm not mixing my metaphors that much. Millenic Alli comes onto the pitch with 10 minutes to go.
I'd say after the goal comes a kind of period of positivity and something to be vaguely optimistic about.
Yeah.
Because we looked a bit better once they took the foot off the gas, But we bring on Millenic Alli.
Yeah. That's his name.
And he looked pretty good, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He looked pretty dangerous.
And he's quite big.
And he nearly scored a header.
He scored a header.
He looked lively, and he looked like he really wanted to get involved and wanted to make some stuff happen.
Yeah.
And it wasn't terrible, the header. I mean, it was only consider this as his first minutes for us.
I think it was his first touch, wasn't it?
And also first minutes for us, for a team outside of the National League.
Yeah.
So that's cause for optimism, the fact that he came on and actually made us look lively. It's the closest, I think, and they're not similar players really, but the closest I think, it was a bit like Luke Harris's debut.
Yeah.
First 20 minutes or so.
Mm.
And when Dimitri Mitchell plays. Someone who's just like, oh, I'm just going to do something now. I'm just going to try and do something.
Yeah.
Which we've been lacking.
God loves a trier. Yeah, I mean, don't worry. Soon Gary will ground the life out of him, and that'll...
Oh, don't say it. I mean, that might well happen.
Oh, no.
Sooner or later, we'll be seeing Millenic Alli playing deep in midfield.
Passing it sideways.
Just passing it sideways, back and forth with Zach Jules. And we'll be talking about that. Bound to happen, isn't it?
Happy days. Yes, that was that. 2-1. I mean, no disgrace in 2-1. And everyone who was there said the lads are playing... They're absolutely doing their best. They're trying really hard. As we know, there's just flaws in the system.
I don't think that's... I mean, yeah, but even in isolation... I mean, it's only because of the context that we're even bothering to mention this.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's a good performance against Peterborough away and came away, to be honest, with the result that we all expected. And really, 2-1 isn't that bad.
No.
And in isolation, we'd be like, that's all right, isn't it, really?
Yeah. If we won against Fleetwood...
But yeah, that's the thing, that's the thing. We didn't, and
we did not.
And
we looked poor for it.
Yeah.
There we go. So that's that. We'll talk about what's coming up in a second. Welcome back to the Big Bank Theory podcast. Remember, you can get in touch with us at Big Bank Pod on Twitter, at bigbankpod@gmail.com, via email, and we're on Facebook as well. Thanks to Steve, who's been in touch, Stephen, to tell us about the saga that keeps on giving. Someone in Australia a podcast called Sports Bazaar has done an hour-long pod on when Michael Jackson, of course, visited the club. I haven't listened to it yet. Have you listened to it yet?
No.
Sounds great. So I'm going to definitely have a listen to that.
It is bizarre. Are they giving us a shout out on their bizarre podcast, whatever it's called?
I don't think so. They got good names, the two presenters. We need better names, me and you.
Right.
Like Titus O'Reilly and Mick Malloy. So
yeah.
Irish fighters.
But are they Australians, did you say?
Yeah.
Well, there you go then.
Anyway, thanks, Stephen, for that.
We've got that to deal with.
Excellent.
So this person who's emailing is not one of those people on the podcast?
No.
Oh, fair enough.
No, he's found it.
Fine. Right. I thought we were just giving away free advertising.
No.
So I'm happy to do for local businesses, but not for ones on the other side of the world.
Stephen's a regular correspondent and pointed out to us this podcast.
Good.
That's why I'm in charge of the email.
I can see why someone in Australia would think this was...
Oh, you'd think it was mad.
Nuts, because it's not even just Michael Jackson, is it? It's almost kind of like weirder because of all the other people that come and the fact that how it happened and everything. Anyway, everyone listening to this knows all about that anyway. So
yeah.
if
Anyway,
you want to know more about it, listen to that shit.
In other news, we are obviously building up to a very busy time. 6 games in the next month, or before April the 1st.
Well, yeah, less. Between the 9th of March and April the 1st, we've got 6 matches. And some of them, let me tell you, are big.
I mean, if you're being positive, that's 18 possible points. So we could firmly have dragged ourselves well away from relegation. Or we could have played a lot more games and got much more to show for it. Shall I tell you about the league first before you tell us about the games?
All right.
Because it's all changed a bit. People below us won a bit. There were some midweek games, and that kind of went our way.
Kind of got away with that one, didn't we?
But now we sit in 15th. We're a point behind Wycombe in 14th, and 4 behind Wigan in 13th. And then below us, Reading and Burton have both got 39. Charlton and Cambridge and Shrewsbury have all got 38. And then Cheltenham in 21st, which is the first or last of the relegation spots, are on 34. So we're 6 points clear of relegation currently. But Cheltenham and some others have a game in hand over us. So
yeah, but we've caught up a few everyone had about 20 games in hand over us, and we've sort of caught it up a bit, haven't we?
That's true.
Without too much. I don't think this is the time to be worrying about that, though. We can't be we haven't got any choice in it, but I think it's unwise to be getting complacent here because we are well in it.
Yeah.
Regardless of but we played quite well against Peterborough.
Yeah.
Irrelevant, we lost.
Yeah. No more points.
And it's not like we're only losing against or not picking up points against teams at the other end of the table. And this is why the next month is pretty important. So we've got Bolton this Saturday at home.
Yeah.
They are good and beat us 7-0 at the Reebok.
Yes.
So that one's another one where you think, well, yeah, they'll beat us probably.
Yep.
And then, sort of anything about from that game is a bonus. I don't really necessarily even agree because with my own statement there, because we're on one of our runs of shit again, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, we're currently not picking up enough points.
If
we had a little good spell, that's over. So it's not what you need when your form's already on the slide.
Here's what you really don't need: an absolute spanking.
Yeah, exactly. So
home crowd, if we lose any more than 2-0...
Oh yeah, exactly. So you have that. Not only is it bad for the league and for the form, but also in terms of the crowd getting on the players' backs and the manager's back. But yeah, there's that. But after that, then
there's some winnable
games. I mean, I don't know if they are. What I mean is they're 6-pointers if you want. So you've got Shrewsbury away. We just said they're just below us. They don't score any goals either.
Yeah,
I think they're one of the only teams with a worse goal difference.
They are. Yeah, that's a Tuesday night.
Yes. Is it?
Yeah.
Then you got that's next week.
Yeah.
So that'll be we'll talk about that next week. Then after that we got Burton at home again. Just below us or just above us?
Yeah. They're just below us, yeah.
Then we've got Leyton Orient away. Then,
They're just about their 9th, so they're 10
mid-table.
points.
Then we've got Charlton and Cheltenham in a week.
Both below us.
That's the Easter Friday, Easter Sunday fixtures. So at the end of, by April Fool's Day...
Yes. The original April Fool will be telling us that...
Well, will it be fool or will it be... Be it fool or be it... What's the opposite of fool? Legend. Gary Caldwell. Well, either, I don't know. Part of me thinks it would be funny to sack him on April Fool's Day. And do it at 1 minute past 12.
You wouldn't believe it.
Just so you know it's definitely true.
If you've got a letter...
No, because you can't possibly do it. If you do it just after midday. No, this is April Fool. No, they posted it at 1 minute past 12.
I see what you mean.
Can't possibly be.
Yeah.
See you later. But we might not want to. He might have won every single one of those matches and we'll be carrying him like, the Easter parade that goes through the cathedral.
Yeah.
Never mind Jesus. We're going to be carrying Caldwell through there.
Yeah.
If he gets us...
Hate to tell you what happened to Jesus after Good Friday.
Never mind that. He came back to... Whatever.
Our metaphors are all over the place.
I haven't thought it through.
No.
What I mean is, there's a lot of important games coming up.
There really are. Yeah.
I shouldn't have mentioned April Fool's Day. I shouldn't have mentioned it. Now we've gotten sidetracked.
So yeah, that's right. It's absolutely spade to the ground, pedal to the metal. Just sort it out, lads. Just sort it out. Just win some games of football. Just score some goals.
Yeah, I think last week I think we'd scored 18 at home, and I was way off.
Yeah, we were corrected
11,
on that.
Right? On Xweb. We've only scored 11 goals at home. So
it's no wonder we're all
we'll be adding to
fed
that.
up.
Whether we add to that this Saturday or not, I doubt, because we'll be playing Bolton. But they haven't. They won at the weekend, but I think before that they'd lost to Wigan and they'd lost to Blackpool, kind of in a row. So they're not like. I mean, none of these teams are unbeatable. This is a bit of context for the Peterborough result as well, right? Because, as much as we were kind of on the day, it just looked like we were beaten by a better team. Peterborough aren't an unbeatable team. I would say they've been like kind of spanked a few times, and like. Well, it's not like it was impossible, and we beat them. Yeah, I mean, fair. I mean, they did get a man sent off, but so it's not. Yeah, anyway, that's going to be. I think maybe this is season defining.
Well, after that...
It's a season defining month.
Yeah, well, after that, we've only got 4 games left.
Oh, yeah. This is what I mean, we're running out of time. And we've got basically, the next 3 weeks is going to decide the season, really, I think, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because...
I just want it all wrapped up before the last game of the season, because I can't go again. 2 last games of the season I've missed in a row.
Yeah, well...
No, wait, I was there last year. It's the one before.
Oh, yeah.
The promotion one.
I mean, there's points there. It's not this dire situation of where on earth are points coming from. And you're right, the 6 pointers are exactly that. So you win against Shrewsbury, and that's put them right back in it, and that's pulled us away, obviously. So... It's not this dire situation. It is, because it feels so awful, but it's not. Can't even see how it's possible.
Oh no, there's. It's almost kind of like a fork in the road, isn't it? That's what these games are like. So, in a way, we're lucky we're playing them. Because if we had games against like teams who are like, either right at the top of the table or kind of more securely in mid-table teams around, like more teams like Leyton or something, who aren't going to get dragged into it.
Yeah.
But we've got to play a lot of games against teams that are, but not the real bottom ones. We've already done the Stevenages, the Port Vales, so
Carlisle,
your Fleetwoods,
your
Carlisles, we've done all them. So. These are the ones that we really need to... It's so important. And I like it because this is a good bit of subtext. It's fallen this way. It makes it exciting because goodness knows watching the actual football isn't exciting.
It is not.
Maybe it will be because now we've got Millenic Alli and I'm pinning all my hopes firmly on his head.
I look forward to it when we've redeveloped the ground and the away end's 3 stories tall. And it's called the Millenic the Millenic stand.
We could just rename St James's Park, couldn't we? The Millenic. That sounds like a football ground.
That does sound like.
Or we've got to go to the Millenic at the weekend and
Yeah.
try and get something. You know, like
Yeah.
yeah. I'm up for it, but I mean, not yet because he's only played about 10 minutes so far.
In
But
fairness to him,
well, we needed something, didn't we?
he's
I mean,
done more than some of that squad.
that's what most people do on their debut, isn't it? Is try and put yourself about a bit, try and kind of give you people a bit, especially when you're getting a few minutes at the end. Try and give people a kind of like, make a bit of a case for yourself.
Yeah.
And we might think nothing of it if we'd had a more exciting season, but we haven't. So that's all we've got to go. That's all we've got to get excited about. Really, is a man running around.
Yeah. Well, Millenic, do it for us, please, fella. Do it against Bolton and do it against Shrewsbury.
And the rest.
We'll be back after Shrewsbury, of course. That's next Tuesday.
Yes, we'll need to be.
We
Well, we don't need to do anything.
We
But
don't need to do this. Gary's made it very difficult to do things. But here we are, like
I know,
brave
Gary's.
soldiers.
Think of the podcasters.
Think of us, please. Yeah. I listen to Sports Report. I was listening to Radio Devon commentary, and then I put Sports Report on as soon as the final whistle's gone, because I don't care about what the summarisers have said. I've heard their thoughts on the game already. And I go straight to 5 Live, right? And it's usually Mark Chapman, isn't it? And he's now got that tone of voice about Exeter City. We're in that point of the season where, no surprise at all, Exeter City have lost again. He's got that tone when he reads out the scores, and I think, dear
Even
me.
he knows.
He just
Even
knows.
Chappers knows.
knows. We all know.
Well, yeah.
If it's going to be 10 points, let's start this week. We could be back here next week on 46 points.
Yeah. That, I'd say, is fairly unlikely, but you never know, do you?
Never know.
Good time to start another good run.
It is.
Good a time as any. If not now, then when?
Please, Saint Millenic, make it so.
Yeah, like I said, pinning it all on him. And I don't know. I mean, it's been a bit depressing all round, hasn't it? But I mean, one specific kind of branch of depression would be like a bit like we've already talked about with Harry, the January signings kind of being a bit, of a damp squib. What we've seen Millenic Alli score 1 goal, which... No, sorry. Moisa scored 1 goal, which was a massive deflection.
Yeah. He's got a nice song.
Other than that, he's sort of... I don't think he's even played a whole game. Purrington got injured and looks fine. Luke Harris looks completely unready for this level.
What's weird is, I don't want to get into this too much now, but we had a massive clear out, some of which there was nothing we could do about.
Oh, did we mention that Harry Kite came on?
Oh yeah, came on right back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strange times, but yeah, okay.
But we had this massive clear out. Collins, fine, wanted to go. Sparks didn't want to go. And yet the people we've brought in, for the ones that we could have done something about, have not been better. Almost across the board. I know there's the occasional, okay, yeah. Well,
I mean, do you remember? I mean, this is, I think we were talking about Josh Key's end product not being quite up to scratch. I mean, flipping heck, compare him to Niskanen.
Yeah.
It's like laughable now, isn't it? You
Yeah.
know, like that's basically what we like. They're similar kind of players. Do you mean? But it's like
chalk and cheese.
Really is
Night and day.
mental.
Okay.
Is that everything?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll have more to talk about next time because there's 2 matches.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Hope you're all right. Hope you're coping with all your branches of depression.
I mean, just do something else.
Do something else.
I honestly can't recommend it enough. Just when the match finishes, have a quick look on the stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, do something.
Brass
picture.
rubbing.
Do some brass rubbing.
Yeah.
Learn the clarinet.
Oh, yeah.
Get into...
pole vault.
Join a reading club. Book club.
No one does pole vault in the park anymore, do they?
I don't know if they ever did that.
Kids these days are soft.
Yeah, but do something that is, there's access to, because it might be difficult to go. Like if you're out there telling kids to go and do pole vault,
I am out there telling them.
Then
to do that, yeah.
I mean they'd be like, well, how? It's a bit like going, I don't understand why more kids aren't into wakeboarding because no one's got a fucking boat. Do you mean like?
Well, with that attitude, they never will.
Well,
Go and get yourself a stick, kids, and jump over something.
Well, in the old days, people, kids were perfectly happy with a stick.
Yeah.
Happy to play with a cup.
Yeah. You've been spoilt with your Play-Doh.
Yeah. And now you've got everything, iPads.
Yeah.
Whatever else you've
Virtual
got.
reality headsets.
In the old days,
I bet they're doing pole vault on that.
Yeah. In the old days, you'd think you'd be jealous of the kid down the road who is outside playing with a cup.
Yeah, you're not even wrong.
Because you didn't have that,
You were cupless.
You got a stick and a hoop.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of the Game Gear of its day. Actually, I mean, what's the equivalent of
Game Gear? Game Gear. Wow.
That was what was the best toy when I was a kid.
Oh, all right, yeah.
So I don't know what the.
Oh, they're all on VR headsets, aren't they now?
VR headset of its day, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, there we go.
Why do? Oh, yeah. Just do something else. Do something. Enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a go on the Game Gear.
Thanks for listening, everyone. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.